Let's get corrupted. What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Joe with Meteoric Serpents coming back at you for another episode of the Colubrid Corruption podcast. Guys, it's great to be back. It's been like a week and a half since I pre-recorded last episode, so it feels like a while, but we're keeping on the same schedule. And obviously, if you guys saw the thumbnail and all that good stuff and the posting on social media today, you guys know what it is. It's the ColubridFest pre-party, pre-show, whatever you want to call it. Zac and Clint are here, so we're going to have some fun tonight talking about what we're excited for, what we're looking forward to, all the good stuff. So stay tuned. As always, big thank you to FulviusApparel.com for sponsoring the podcast. Guys, if you like reptile-related apparel, get yourself a t-shirt, hoodie, hat, whatever it be. Wearing a Fulvius shirt right now. As always, go to FulviusApparel.com and use code CC10 to get yourself 10% off your order. Again, that's code CC10. That's an exclusive code for Colubrid Corruption listeners. So go take advantage of that. Get stuff. Justin's awesome. So thank you, Justin, for supporting the show. Yeah, guys, if it's your first time listening to the podcast, make sure you hit like on today's episode. Make sure you hit that subscribe button here on YouTube. Stay notified about every single time we go live, drop an episode. I'm trying to get myself dabbled back into some YouTube videos. The one I posted last week did very well. Thank you guys for watching that if you did. But yeah, go check that out. Also, make sure to follow all my social media down below. That way you stay on top of what's going on here with myself, my collection, and the podcast as well, because I post everything there. Also, the guests' Instagrams are in the description as well, so go check those out. Also, the first link in the description below does go to the Meteoric Serpents Patreon. If you want to support, whether you want to support the show or you want a little more behind the scenes access of what goes on here, early access to episodes, fully ad-free episodes, which is always fun that you get, early access to my animals that I produce and discounts and merch and all that good stuff. So feel free to take a look at it. Plus a really cool community on Discord that we have going on there. A bunch of like-minded guys who enjoy Colubrid. So yeah, go check that out. Let's see here. Oh, I also forgot to mention, you can listen to this podcast on all the major audio platforms, Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music, Google Play, and all those. So go check it out there. If you don't always like listening on YouTube, you could go listen to them on there. And let's see. Well, obviously the whole thing about today is ColubridFest, which we're going to get right into. It's September 12th to 14th. It's in 2 weeks from now. So super pumped about that. Also, guys, make sure you're supporting USARK, USARK Florida. Those are the organizations that fight for our rights to keep our reptiles, fighting against laws that restrict the animals you could keep on state, federal, and local levels. And also, if you're into conservation, you could donate to the CCR Conservation Fund. This is going direct to Colubrid Conservation. I know Zac has his students out there and I do some really cool stuff. We'll probably talk a little bit about that tonight. So if you're wanting to donate to conservation, you should go check this out on Colubrid and colubridradio.com, I believe. They could correct me if I'm wrong on that. And showing off the list of speakers, but I think we'll just hold that to the conversation tonight. And let's see, anything we are hashtag Colubrid Corruption of the week. As always, guys, on your Instagram photos of Colubrids, make sure you put hashtag Colubrid Corruption. That way I do a weekly shout out on the show, just something I see that looks pretty cool. And yeah, we got a couple. I'm actually not familiar with this species at all. I'm not even going to try to read that scientific name. Hopefully, if you guys are watching, you could read it right there. But they, it's cool. Mentions that some sexual dimorphism, adult female and adult male, pretty drastic difference there. So, yeah, that's cool. Guys, once again, hashtag Colubrid corruption, under the radar reptiles shared that. So thank you for participating. All right. Let's see. All right. I think that about does it for the intro tonight, guys. I see some people in the chat. We have Eric Westmoreland, Adam from Ivory Colubrid Co., one of the Patreon members. Thank you, Adam, for supporting the show. Chris from Copperhead Reptilia. We got Kayla Martin in the chat and Keller. What's going on? But without further ado, guys, let's bring on our guest for tonight and let's have some fun. And prep for ColubridFest. We have Zac and Clint. What's going on, guys?
Hey, hey.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. There, you're back.
You're back, man.
Okay. How are you guys?
Go ahead, Clint.
I'm doing great, man. We're staying busy as always. I mean, that's kind of Zac and I. That's what we do, is always moving. So I really can't complain. Things are going well. Weather's beautiful. Snakes are everywhere. It's all good, brother. ColubridFest in less than 2 weeks. So
I'm doing pretty well as well. Last week was the first week of school, so this weekend is me making all the PowerPoints I forgot I needed to make last week. So that's what I've been doing. And ColubridFest PowerPoints. I've been working on those with people for Saturday, the day of the talks. But yeah, no, everything's going well here. It's I agreed to give a talk at the West Virginia Herpetological Society meeting in the New River Gorge next weekend. And then I realized that ColubridFest was the following weekend. So I think that means that I'm going to work for like 4 straight weeks. So my break is ColubridFest, which is not really going to be a break, but it will at the same time. So yeah, good times.
I feel your pain there, Zac, because I've got, so this week we have Saturday, the Evansville show. I will be packing up from the Evansville show, everything back in the trailer, driving straight to Indianapolis, staying the night to do the Indianapolis show Sunday. Then ColubridFest, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the following week. And then we have the town of Chandler's parade and communities that we're setting up and doing things all day the following Saturday. So
yeah, no rest.
Book solid. How about you, buddy?
Yeah,
How you
I
been?
know. Good, not too bad. I was gonna say, I know you guys, after ColubridFest is over, you get to have at least a little of a break from all like the planning and preparations of that until it dives into next year, where I'm sure it ramps up again. But I have a little time off of that show planning and stuff. But no, everything here has been pretty good. Just plugging along, and yeah.
Right on. Yeah, I think one of the things we typically do at ColubridFest is right afterwards, we instantly kind of have a meeting on what worked, what didn't work. What are we making sure happens again next year? What are we making sure absolutely does not happen next year, so that we can continue to build it and make it better, each year.
Yeah. I feel like that was done last year already with like the moving of locations and things like that. And and last minute, I obviously a lot more. There was a lot more time to really plan everything out and flesh it all out. So I think that was a positive on, especially your guys' part, just the ability to spread it out, plus, actually probably get it all together, perfect the things that weren't liked last year.
Well, even this year, I mean, we've got new things that we're putting together, and we have to see how all that goes and what adjustments we want to make to that, next year. And we do have good news. We want the dates aren't hidden. It's been mentioned on Facebook, but we'd rather not say it until after this ColubridFest, just because we don't want to confuse people. But the good news is the 2026 dates are already locked in. So it'll be announced, full year in advance here, guys. So, I mean, we'll be good. That was another thing we wanted to kind of hammer in, that it will be able to be scheduled the same weekend every year. So it's easy for everyone to plan for, instead of, is it this weekend, that weekend, whatever.
Yeah. So we're really, really hoping everybody likes this venue.
Right.
Which we really think the venue will be good. I don't, somebody messaged me about the show. Would there be an area where people could just kind of hang out on the show floor? And correct me if I'm wrong, Clint, based off what we were talking with Mickey, I don't think that's going to be a problem.
No, there should be plenty of room.
Yeah.
And, we talked about this previously, but we aren't planning this as a, this is as big as it's going to get. No, that's the great thing about this venue. And one of the things we wanted to stress to everyone who is coming like from out of town, and especially flights and the other side of the country, the other side of the world, things like the tickets for this venue. Because obviously, if you're going to travel all this way, you want to make sure you have your tickets and you're good to go. You don't need to buy your tickets online. In fact, we don't want you to, because if you buy them online, there's a huge Ticketmaster fee that more than doubles the price of your tickets. We are not going to sell out of tickets. We are literally only using a third of this giant venue space that we can always expand. We have plenty of room for plenty of people. Buy your tickets at the door. It's not going to be a problem. But my point in saying that is we have so much room to expand that we're golden to grow this thing exponentially.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Before we really dive into all the details and whatnot, I know you do it a little bit on your show, but I really want to hear what's going on with your guys' season and how everything's been going. And we've been excited about producing and all that good stuff. So I don't know who wants to go first, but if you want to kind of give a 2025 season update in terms of animals.
I'll go first because I had fewer snakes than Clint, but way too many of one. So obviously we'll just get false water cobras out of the way. I don't know. I really have those things dialed in. In fact, I think I have them 2 dialed in. This year I bred 2 large adult females, second, like 3rd, 4th, 5th breeding. And then I had 2 females. It was their first breeding. And just one of the damn snakes dropped 29 eggs. And then I was like, damn, that's a big clutch. Then she double clutched and she dropped 36. So yeah, that's over 50. That's over 60 babies coming out of one animal. Wow. And I was actually up at school today and I pulled her out because I thought, like, there's no way she's recouped. She didn't look like she laid a damn egg. Like, she is just right back to where she needs to be. So I don't count the false water cobras because I just know we have a bunch, but one of the students did. And so we have well over 100. I think we're like around 120, 130. So damn. I'm just, and they're actually, I'm getting rid of them. They're moving out, which is kind of nice. And they're going to good homes. So I like that. And then we talked about it. I feel like this is a cool thing to talk about on the show because I had a couple people reach out to me. This was a very, very strange season for me. The bread and butter, like the kings, the freaking Getula kings, like this is like first grade level breeding animal, nothing overly complicated. I only had about 55, 60% of them go. Mm-hmm. But everything else that was complicated or a little bit like, they all bred just fine. Like I got my first clutch of Madagascar hognose snakes. Now she, of course, laid the eggs outside the damn nest box and only put one in the nest box. So, but that baby hatched and it's staying here. It's not going anywhere. It's eating pinkies like a champ. Clint, of course, sent me his hogs and said, make some hognose snakes. And I don't even know how many hognose snakes I made. I made a lot of hognose snakes and sent them all down to Clint. So there's a lot of hogs that we made. And then some other things. My Japanese rat snakes, they did something weird this year. I don't know if they slugged out or the female went to great lengths to hide her eggs. I keep them in naturalistic enclosures. They always lay their eggs in the pothos pot. So I kept checking the pothos pot, and then I checked the egg box, and I made one of the Whitman boxes. Well, not like what Clint has, but just a black egg box. And I knew she was gravid. And then I, of course, went on one of my trips and came back, and she was thinned out. And I could not find the eggs. And I thought, like, what the hell? Well, she had actually somehow put them under the egg box. So there's like the nest box. I have cocoa chip in there, and she went under there, and I found them like 3 weeks after she laid them. So that was my one hit and miss. But I got the Musaranas this year. They all hatched, by the way. So that's something that I didn't even think I told Clint. Or I sent a picture in one of our chats.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So like, I'm breeding Baruna, and I'm one of the few people in the country that did that. But my damn Florida Kings didn't lay eggs. So like, that's just, and I know there's a lot of people that do colubrids that had similar, seasons. My bull snakes, first time I bred my Kanks here, I got 2 beautiful clutches, and then the one I was not trying to do this. She retained sperm and dropped a second clutch. So like on some sides of the fence, great. On other sides of the fence, not so great. So yeah.
I had a very, very similar year. It was funny. It's almost like so many things from 2024 flipped in 2025. On one hand, it seemed like a lot of things were going later than normal.
Yeah.
And I feel that's because we had an actual spring this year. It didn't jump kind of, 2 weeks and then straight into summer. So I think things kind of took their time. And, we had talked about this before, but not just as far as what's in the rooms, even local reptiles.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Well, for example, we had a mystery clutch brought into our Henderson location, and we had another clutch brought into the Chandler location, but I knew what those were. And we hatched, they literally, both clutches just hatched this week.
Oh, damn.
Right. And for the natives, I mean, that's late. I mean, we're at the end of August now. So one clutch was our native black rats. That was what was over here. The mystery clutch, Ox lucked out. I would have loved to have had that clutch over here. It was Eastern Black Kings that were hatching. So yeah, those are my favorite locals. So, but anyways, so, we had success. We obviously have had a lot of success. I mean, I think we are on clutch 90 something, just colubrids 90 something. Then you got your balls and your boas and all that, where we're on 50 something, 60 something of those, as far as clutches.
Yeah.
And we had success in, I think right now we have 1 clutch of colubrids left in the incubator, and it's Barons Racers. And it's like, it'll be our first year ever producing Barons, and so I'm like, they should, how about now? They haven't hatched yet, but any day. So that's cool. We're excited about that. We had Blue Beauties, Taiwans. We did real well with our bamboos this year. They really cranked out for us. One thing from this year that we were a little short on last year were mandarins. Up to my up to my eyeballs now in mandarin rat snakes, because it's, 20 something of them, and they all hatched within like a week and a half. So it's just boom, all these mandarins. And so that's really exciting for us. But we missed on some other, like I'm looking in each room in my mind right now. And in the Asian room, the disappointment was we struck out on Carinata again, and I cannot explain it. Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, some of you aren't going to be here next season. It's a lot of big snakes that are sitting around just getting fat and looking at me, not doing anything. And we missed out on our Koreans. And that one, I have no reason why, that would have occurred. And that was a real disappointment, because you don't see, we've got albinos and hets, so we would produce normals, and you don't see many normal Korean rats in the trade. So hoping that that fixes itself. But in the Asian room, yeah, that was it for the most part. And then Southwest was a little disappointing in the gray bands this season. didn't have nearly the luck that I feel we should have. And so we're again, one of the things we're doing is we're getting everything out of racks in there, putting them in cages that are a little more airflow, and just trying to make things better for those in the Southwest region, that come from those type of areas. Cow Kings did great. Black Milks produced. Let's see. And then as we step into the North American room, Black Rats this year hit it hard. I mean, we've produced a ton of Black Rats and a lot of good looking mutations. And there seems to be a lot of interest in Black Rats again this season. So that's very fortunate for us. And the cool thing is, I don't know if you guys have seen the Rustico Black Rats. Those are really cool. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. I want to make a few of those. People are going to like them. So we made some of those, and we've also, we hit some combos that are still extremely rare, like hypo calicos, hypo lavender calicos, things like that. So that's pretty exciting. Tons of Mexican Black Kings, some good looking corns, and just a nice variety. A little bit with the Hondurans too. So all in, it's been a pretty eventful season for us. And I said to Zac that I got to the point during the peak of the hatching, because it got to where we're talking like 3 or 4 clutches a day that are ready to come out of the incubator. And as I'm carrying them around the corner into the nursery, I feel bad because I just see Corey's face, who works in our nursery, just dropping every time I walk in that room. Going, look what I got for you. It's more work. So,
I sent a box with 103 babies. So she got 103 babies all at once.
It was so funny too, because she was so excited for their anniversary sale, because she knew we were going to sell a lot of animals, and we did. We sold 147 animals in one day, and it's the same week that Zac sends us 103 more. Sorry, Corey.
Sorry, Corey.
But yeah, it's been a good season, man. Can't complain.
Awesome. Yeah. No, that's great, guys. It's awesome to hear. I did not have the same luck, but I had a big life change. So I'm hoping next year is when I really push it to my limits, my collection's limits. I'm thinking that'll be the case. So we'll see how that goes.
Nice.
But yeah, ColubridFest, guys, 2 weeks away, second annual. I'm just so excited, and I'm glad I've been able to be a part of it the last 2 years. But really just like, let's start off in comparison to last year. What are you guys generally most this year?
Oh, you cut out right on your question, buddy. What was that one? What are we most something?
Most looking forward to this year in comparison to last?
Go ahead.
Well, one thing that we were very cognizant of is there's a saying, we say it a lot in West Virginia. My dad said it to me a million times, and that's, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And we know that what we did last year wasn't broken, because everybody left with the vibe, and, we let it germinate for 48 hours post ColubridFest, and everybody was still buzzing, and that's special. And so we knew we had to make sure that we captured that again, because that's what Clint and I, and you probably, Joe, like when we left, it did not feel like a reptile show. It felt like an event. And that's what we were shooting for. And so when it came to adding things, the main thing we were looking at was just adding things that would increase the community presence. In other words, like, how can we fold this in a way where everybody feels welcome right off the rip? And so Friday night is one of the big nights that's different, because we had the social last year. And I noticed, and Clint noticed too, that when, if you're setting up a booth, there's a culture that goes around with like, I'm a vendor, I'm setting up my booth, I'm talking to other people setting up their booths, blah, blah, blah. But if you're there and you're, you're coming to ColubridFest as a family, or you're coming to ColubridFest as just, as a keeper, you didn't really know what to do with yourself. And those people kind of ended up sitting in the room, and we didn't like that. So this year, right off the rip, we believe it starts at 6. So, there you go. The Show Me Reptile people are going to be doing a workshop on how to sex your snakes, which I think is, if you've listened to CCR, that's one of my great, I don't know. That's one of the things I think people need to be able to do if they're a breeder. The one time I went on to NPR's Christmas show and gave my Festivus complaint, it was the fact that people sell snakes and don't know how to sex snakes. That was the year I bought 9 female California king snakes that were all male, which is really irritating.
Oh,
so yes. So the fact that we have a workshop go over that, that's cool. And then that's going to segue into just a fun talk on what is a colubrid and a colubroid. And this is, of course, for the people that kind of go towards my side of the fence with the whole biology, natural history piece, but everybody's welcome. I taught that class last year, biology of snakes. And I was just thinking, like, I literally made hundreds and hundreds of PowerPoint slides for that class. It is not hard at all for me to go in there, pull the highlight, like the best of the best of the best, and then be able to just kind of present, here's colubrids, here's colubroids, in kind of a fun way. And then we'll probably have like the damn snakes in the building so we can get out the animals and show them to people. So, so that's Friday evening. And we're hoping that gives the people that are like, kind of coming in and don't know what to do with themselves something to do. And then the vendors have something to do. And then, we'll all then go into the icebreaker at 9. So, or 8 or 9. So we know what time it is.
So even the vendor setup starts at 7.
Vendor
6,
setups all day.
Yeah, vendor setups all day.
Oh,
you can get in there anytime.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to figure out when I should leave. It's like 10-11 hour drive for me. I'm thinking I leave early in the morning and beat New York City traffic and just get out, just so I can get past that, because that would take a lot of stress off the drive. That's probably what I'll wind up doing.
I think a 4 o'clock departure would be great.
4 a.m. You're probably right. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah. So that's that. And then the talks, we're not really changing up the format of the talks that much. That was totally it's not broken.
It worked.
Right. It worked. We're not changing that. So the only thing that we did is there's just 2 themes that are kind of doing this with the talks, which is kind of fun. One theme that was important to Clint and I was to address enrichment, because that is oftentimes a dirty word to some people, and to other people it's kind of a word to weaponize, which drives me. I don't like that. In our group, the Colubrid community, we're really good at kind of seeing both sides of an opinion and then kind of coming to the middle. And so we thought, why avoid it? Let's just hit it right on the head. So we're going to be talking about that with some of the talks, and then some of the other talks. If you saw the lineup, Dr. Whitman is back. He's going to be giving the same time slot right after lunch. And he's going to be talking about emerging diseases, because, elephant in the room, we need to know about these diseases if we're going to keep our collection safe. And so he's going to do that talk, and then that's going to go straight into like collection maintenance, which is where the Hognose guys, Jeff and John, are going to be talking about how they basically do disease protocols to keep things like crypto out. I mean, I've been to John's collection of hogs. The amount of gloves that man goes through in a week probably would rival a hospital. So, and I thought there's not a better guy on earth to talk about this. Like I've been to zoos that don't do what John does. So, and I've heard Jeff's just the same way. And then that will lead into, I guess there's 3 themes. Then your talk, Joe, of course, with, so you want to start a project. Love that idea. And then what is colubrid culture, which is what we're ending with. And that's Clint's panel with Eric and April. So, and then we got Ben in there talking about colubrid genetics and
it's gonna be
all
awesome.
kinds of good stuff.
Yeah.
So, and Lassiter is going to be talking about Applegate enclosures, which is right there on that whole enrichment, but you don't know you're doing enrichment because you're doing enrichment kind of thing. That's the thing. Yeah. So talks are going to be fun. I'm looking forward to the talks. As you know, being one of the speakers, we're trying to like level up the presentations a little bit this year because, you know, we've figured out how to do it. And then the show is the show. And I'll let Clint speak to the show because obviously Mr. Marketing. But I had a moment Thursday night where I started to actually like calm down and just kind of put the game face on for ColubridFest. And I saw the people that are going to be vending at the show. And I'm starting to be like, holy hell, like this really is like, that has definitely been up level. Not that the vendors that came last year weren't great. They were freaking fantastic. I'm just simply saying like, we've got people from all over coming in that a lot of people like, we're from this general area, the Midwest. I'm kind of mid-Atlantic, but like Pitch Ophis, we don't get Pitch Ophis that often. When Clint and I went to Pomona, we were blown away by all the pits.
Yeah.
We have Jay Jacoby and Nelson and like all these hardcore Pitch Ophis. I'm in trouble. That's all I got to say.
Oh, it's going to be dangerous. There's no doubt. You know, so, you know, another change that we have this year before going into the show, because one thing that Zac and I, we talk about this, but I don't think that everyone has fully grasped what we really are building here. Because, okay, we say that, you know, we're wanting to bridge that gap between hobby and academia. And so we wanted to make this where you have it's really cool because it's a colubrid only show, but you get all these scientific or educational talks that come with it that, you know, are not talking at you, you know, all the interactive. Well, all that is wonderful, but it's truly not the end goal on what we're after. The end goal is building the community, continuing to strengthen the community, uniting the community while growing the community. That's the real goal. So this year, one of the things that we've now added was right before the auction on Saturday night, we have the Best of Awards that'll be going out. And, you know, that we are super excited about because the thought process behind that was we have so many individuals in this community that do wonderful things. And, you know, whether it's wonderful things with the animals or wonderful things within the community or just we want these individuals, we just want members of the community to have this opportunity to be recognized. You know, there's a lot of us that will recommend people to others, right? Oh, this is, you know, talk to them for this animal, that animal. And that's recognition that they don't always hear, right? We wanted this opportunity for individuals to hear their name said in front of an audience, to have something physical to take with them, you know, with these awards. So the Best of Awards are something that we're really excited about and really honored that we get to be up there handing these over, you know, to such incredible people. And I think that particular piece is just going to get better and better with even larger participation as the years go on. And I think it is it's the perfect addition to ColubridFest because it really does, you know, kind of encompass what we're after there. So, so that piece is cool. The show, good Lord. I mean, so when you asked the original question, what are we looking forward to the most? It's split down the middle for me because on one hand, I love that I'm going to get to see so many of my friends, you know, under one roof again. It's Joe. I haven't seen you since the last ColubridFest, right?
The last one. Yep.
Yeah. So get to see you again. Kayla Martin. Haven't seen her since the California trip. Kerwin. Haven't seen him since the California trip. And there's so many others that, I mean, Eric Westmoreland, I get to see him at shows every now and then, but I love getting to see him anytime I can. The Zirkles. There's so many I can name right now. And so forgive me if I'm not naming you. There's so many of my friends I'm excited to see. That's on one half. The other half is I'm super stoked to get to see so many people that I haven't met yet that I know are going to be there. April Linkfield, thrilled to get to meet April Linkfield in person. Now, we've chatted here and there, and so that's what I'm excited about, is getting to see the faces I already love to see and talk with, and getting to see new ones that I've only heard of or talked to, online. It's just like the first one all over again, in that regard. Yeah. And so that's what I'm the most stoked for, is that, to Zach's point, this show, I think it's probably tripled in size from the first one. The vendor list, you're talking, so Jason Hood, I was just talking to him today about vending, because he's going to be there. And right. Just today, we just locked it in today. So Jason, you got Jason Hood.
Last year, the funny side story to that, Jason and I were potentially planning on traveling together last year. That was kind of my whole thing was last minute thing, but we were potentially going to travel together, and that didn't wind up happening, but good to hear he's going to be there.
Oh yeah. And so he's coming. You got him in April coming up from Florida, as well as others. Yep. We've got Black Pearl. We've got Black Pearl with so John Michaels, all the Indigos, Crebos, all that. He's coming out from California. Of course, Kayla's coming back from California. So any of you, if you want fantastic Hondurans, there they are. She's going to, with some other great stuff. As he said, Jason Nelson coming from, I think he's Nevada or Utah? Utah. There's others coming from Arizona that I know of. That we're getting individuals from all over the country, and I don't know if you've been paying attention in the Facebook group, but the stuff that people are posting that they're bringing, I'm like, Jesus, this is going to be insane. We talked last year about how you couldn't bypass a table, right? It's not like any other show where you walk past 8 tables to finally stop at one that has something that you like. And now I'm seeing last year you kind of walked 2 feet at a time, 2 feet, stop, 2 feet, stop.
Yep.
And it took a lot longer to get through that show. And now I'm thinking, man, so much more keeps popping in my head. We're going to have so many, not only house snakes because of April, what was the gentleman's name? I'm putting you on the spot because it slipped my mind too. We've been communicating with him, but another
he hangs out with Jarrett from Reach Out Reptiles all the time.
But so we're going to have probably more house snake representation than any other show has ever had. We're also going to have a ton of garter. Yes, Justin Warren. Thank you. We're also going to have a ton of garter representation that's going to be there. I mean, so these, and if anyone's listened to us on the show, I've said if there are 2 freaking markets that someone should get into, it's those. It's garters and house snakes. Those 2 markets combined make up 1% of the listed colubrids out there. And why is that? Because they sell out so damn fast, they don't ever have to post them.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is the fact that we've got these breeders under one roof is insane. So, I mean, it's exciting. It really is. Like you, Zach, I'm a little afraid of the pocketbook. For this one.
I have blinders on. I am looking for 3 snakes. And I'm probably going to come up with 15, but 3 is the number.
Yeah. I'm looking for 3. I found 27. So,
so anyway. Yeah, nice. So that's that. And then, of course, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but the auction, which is going to be supporting the research. So, whenever we get to the research piece, we can talk about the auction. But and another thing that I'm kind of proud of is the fact that we did the auction. The auction happened, got the money. Money came to West Lib. I used that money and then and not getting political. These are facts. my funding streams took a massive hit with all the DOG, investigations and everything. But you know what didn't take a hit? ColubridFest money. So, enabled me to get this thing launched in Iowa, and I didn't have to worry about, is the money there? Is the money not there? And that also meant that I could ironically put a lot of attention into those 3 graduate students' summer research, because some of the poor crayfish students, I was like, I don't know where the money is, guys. Now, inevitably, we got it all back. So there you go. But yeah, looking at that, I cannot wait for the grad students. I told them, you're giving the update talk. I can get up there and talk, but I want the people that directly benefited from this to be the people giving the talk. And the stuff that they were doing and they're finding is just, it's incredible. And it all directly ties back to herpetoculture. So, and of course, conservation.
And we've been very lucky this past year to find, you have individuals who are regularly donating to the Conservation Corp. The Westmorelands, I know they sell bracelets, and so it's just, we'll see random donations from them after they've done a show, and we so appreciate that. We have a couple facilities now, a zoo, Zach's University, where they make purchases through Metazotics, and I've got an agreement with them where I then will do 10% of that transaction gets donated to the conservation fund. So if you are a university or zoo and would like to participate in that, please reach out to Metazotics. But we've done very well. We even had at our anniversary event last week, one of our local tattoo artists who is a regular in the shop gave away a 6-hour session and we sold raffle tickets, and all proceeds straight to the Conservation Corp. So I'm saying all that to say that we've been very lucky for our first year as a nonprofit, 501c3, to be able to find these different means of funding. But hands down, ColubridFest is our #1 event of the year that really drives in, a lot of the funding and donations. And so while we're, talking about it, and Zach, if there's more that you want to go into with what's being done or what will be done, please do. I do want to say this, and I've been making posts lately about it. If you are coming to ColubridFest, it takes 2 things for auctions to be successful. It takes a bunch of drunk people with their wallets bidding. So we need all of you for that. But before that, it takes items. We have to have items to auction off, obviously. So if you're coming, if you want to donate a live animal, that is completely fine. Bring it, please, in like a deli cup. That's if it's a bigger animal, deli that's sealed strong, taped down. And we ask that way people can see the animal, that they're bidding on through the deli. And that can be dropped off with us Saturday morning or anytime through the day Saturday, no problem. And if you are bringing anything that is non-living, which can be just about anything, it can be anything that's like herp related, like a book or any kind of herp history thing, or maybe it's a craft that you made, or anything like that is perfectly fine. Or it doesn't even have to be herp related. Alcohol does very well at auctions. So I'm a bourbon fan. I will bid. If you have baked goods, if there's anything that you think people may like, bring it. We're happy to take any donation we can get to help make the auction successful. If you are unable to attend ColubridFest, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. Our weekend's going to be better than yours. But if you want to donate, we can still make that happen. If you have live animals that you want to donate, you can reach out to me at metazotics@gmail.com. And we will align shipping. Basically, we're having animals shipped to us that Thursday, and then I will take them up Friday for the auction. We did this last year, worked out great. If you are wanting to ship anything that is, we'll call it a dry good, something that's not alive, you can ship that straight to our store. And our store's address is on metazotics.com. And same thing, I'll put this in my trailer and we'll bring it right up, for ColubridFest. So I would be happy to do my part in transportation to make this happen for anyone that can't make it. So please help us to make that successful. Back to you, Zach.
Oh, yeah. Do you just want to, since we're on the auction, just talk about what we did?
Yeah, please do. Have at it.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. All right. So, so we took the proceeds of the auction last year, and I had mentioned Iowa. Now, when I say Iowa, we're at a field site in Iowa that has both eastern, western hognose snake species. Both of those taxa are there. And then it has other species like red-sided garters and ribbon snakes and fox snakes and bull snakes are there. Racers, the beautiful blue racers are there. They're kind of fantastic. Nerodia, multiple species of Nerodia are present at the site. So it's got this very diverse colubroid community. And what I wanted to do was put radio transmitters on hognose snakes and study them. You can't just do that. And so you have to get these little thingy-doos called permits, which can be a royal pain in the ass if you're a West Virginia hillbilly trying to get into the Great Plains of Iowa where they don't know who the hell you are. So I was able to get in with three wonderful people, wonderful humans. Dr. Josh Otten, who basically is the Zach Loafman for his little school, which I love the fact that he teaches at a little liberal arts school and I teach at a little liberal arts school. It's not like we're completely, we're equal. We have the same challenges, it's kind of nice actually. And then we have Dawn and Jim, and Dawn is this computer programming genius, which adds a level I don't even want to talk about to the whole thing, which I will talk about here in a minute. And then Jim is a lifetime herper and incredibly meticulous individual who helps to keep the data quality high. And so I have those three individuals in Iowa that I then ship the students to, who are then kind of overseeing things, and the students are there. So it creates a community that we talk about here. But, normally when you go and do things like this, for snake biology, if you get 100 captures of your target taxa, you're like doing backflips, through the hallways of your school. And we had multiple hundred captures of the target taxa. And then when you do telemetry, you've got to get certain animals that are a certain size in a window of time. And that's really nerve-wracking. And I don't know, the gods just lined up with us, and we had like 10 days to implant our snakes, and we got it all done in 8, which you never get things done early. And then there's normally infections or something that could go wrong with the animals. All of our snakes are still alive as of yesterday. That was the last time I checked in. And so we're getting all this badass data, and it's going to be used for Paige, my grad student Paige, who you'll meet at ColubridFest because she's coming. She's doing the telemetry piece. I have another grad student named Alyssa who is doing snake community analyses of the site, which is super cool. So like, what is it like to be a bull snake? What is it like to be a garter snake? And what is it like to be a hognose snake? Asking that question with all those snakes together, looking at all the resources they use and how they divvy up those resources on landscape. That's Alyssa's thesis. And then Tyler, he's doing hognose snake diets. His thesis, I tell everybody, it's no pun intended, it's full of shit, because his whole thesis is catching hognose snakes and getting them to crap into a whirl pack, and then we're bringing that back to the lab and we're doing this swanky DNA analysis to see if we can figure out, is there bird DNA in there, is there turtle DNA in there, lizard DNA, toad DNA, to kind of do a more modern approach to a food study. And that one is above my pay grade. Tyler was at ColubridFest last year, if you were there. But he's wicked intelligent, and at West Lib, we're like a giant family. So I just went to the Melect people and was like, can you help him with this? And they were like, sure. And so last thing I heard is that it was actually working, and I'm super excited about that project. But I'm going to say why in a later episode of CCR. Sorry. I want to make sure it actually works before I start talking about it. But, all of that funded by the auction. I used the money from the auction to buy some equipment, I used the money from the auction to pay for a month's worth of Airbnbs for them to stay in. I used money from ColubridFest to buy them field packs and everything. And then I used some money from the school. It was the school kind of helped with feeding them. They need to eat. And putting roofs over their heads, and gave us a field vehicle for the summer. So joint effort, but like all the stuff came from ColubridFest. So now that we're ripping and roaring, we really need that auction this year, because I want to be able to get enough funding to know we can do this for at least 2 years. Because if we can get 3 years of data, I cannot wait to write those papers and put in the acknowledgement section, funded by a reptile show. I mean, I don't know what else can, like, you know what I mean? Like, and not your typical reptile show, but, funded by the herpetocultural community, that would be pretty freaking cool. So
last year, the wound up coming in at it was 11 and change. Or am I incorrect?
Yep. That's correct.
What do you given what we know of how many people are coming, what are you shooting for this year?
So okay. Mickey, let's give credit where credit's due here. Mickey, who is obviously such a major point of getting all this put together, he says this year he's after 25. Okay. He's after 25,000. And I completely feel that it's doable. But what is it going to take?
Stuff.
We need the stuff, and we need loose wallets. So, I mean,
I'm hoping, well, you adding the fact that there's more people this year should rally the fact that there's more people willing to buy and spend. So,
and there's going to be, I know Exoterra is going to donate things. ZoomEd's going to donate things, for the auctions. So, Metazotics, we're going to donate some stuff. There's no doubt about it. So, I think that everyone really pulled through last year as well. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff, out there. So, I think that we're going to do just fine. And I think that 25 is, a very doable number. And I think that's going to go a long, long way for what we're wanting to accomplish, with this. And understand, everyone, that this is just what Zach's talking about right now is one project.
Yes.
That's one project so far. We want to have, the tentacles out helping several different projects going on at once. And then we have bigger aspirations of wanting to be able to purchase land and set it aside for different conservation projects. And I mean, and it goes even bigger. We don't just want to have the land so that we can protect the animals. We want to buy chunks of land that people are then able to go field herp on, leaving everything there. Don't take anything. But we want there to still be places that you can take your kids, and there's boards already out that you can go flip and see. That's our dream, is all of this, is making all of that happen. So, it's going to take more than $25,000 on one event, but it's going to continue to get us moved in the right direction on what we're wanting to achieve. So help us, continue to help this grow. There are a lot of nonprofits out there. A lot of them are great. Some of them we don't know, because you never know where your money's going with a lot of them. But with this one, I mean, we can seriously account for every penny spent and where it goes and what it's doing. And as of right now, the only overhead that our nonprofit has is the fees for the electronic transfers. That's it. So whenever you swipe a card, that fee is the only thing that is being paid. Not one red cent is going to anything or anyone else other than straight conservation efforts.
So that's that. Good stuff. This was
cool.
If you would have told me when I started CCR that Clint was gonna, the day after I said, sure, let's get a nonprofit. And now we're getting an auction that's funding grad students research and impacting snakes and it's all being done by herpetoculture. You could have pushed me over with a leaf or feather. Sorry, if you would have told me that. So yeah, no, we're cooking with gas now. And this is just the beginning, like Clint said. Clint and I both, I say this all the time. We like to jump off cliffs. We have no clue how we're going to land. We are just confident we will land. And we will either stick the landing or die. Those are the two options, but we're still going to land. So far, we've stuck most of the landing.
That's right. That's right. There'll be hiccups and whatnot along the way, but we're going to keep making it happen.
Spinning as you're falling, but we have still stuck the landing. So that's that.
We had a good question in the chat here from Mike.
Sure.
What's the hotel/restaurant all the cool people hang out at Friday and Saturday night? So besides just the venue for the hangout, I believe Clint had mentioned before that there is a bar at the hotel.
That's what I'm told. Yes. Yeah. It's a Hilton Garden Inn, which they've always had a bar at any of them that I've stayed at. And that is at 8615 US 24 West in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Hilton Garden Inn, 8615 US 24 West. That's where I think just about everybody is booked. And to my understanding, they still had a handful of rooms open. So if there's someone coming that hasn't booked their room yet, go there. And that's, we wanted to try. I got mine
early this time.
Yeah, so did I. And I had to book a few different rooms so it's, we've got several coming. But one of the things we wanted to try to do was, if it wasn't going to be a hotel convention center, so not, all under the same roof for the show and everything, which just wasn't, we were finding that wasn't going to be feasible. We wanted to ensure that we had a hotel that was like the main hotel, so that the majority of the people that wanted to could all stay there, because that's, again, a lot of the community building doesn't happen during a show. The community building happens during all the conversations before and after. And so if we've got, 200 herpers walking around the hotel and, all this and, afterwards, I think that the community is going to continue to be strengthened. So hopefully,
even like just in terms of like hanging out with people, like the lunch intermission on the day of the talks, like I went out to lunch with a bunch of people and we just, we were hanging out and talking, like, it's as simple as that. But
that was one of the things that we kind of, it wasn't our fault really. It just kind of happened. There wasn't much outside the venue opportunities for people to mingle, and we knew that was an issue. Mm-hmm. And for anybody that's questioning, because I've had a couple people actually message me directly, why the hell did you choose Fort Wayne, Indiana? Well, it's cheap compared to other places. It's very centrally located. Reptile rules are cool. And we knew we could get this freaking venue where we had, hotel lobby, hotel area, kind of sprawl. And then the new venue has the ability to have an area, kind of off to the side the day of the show where people can mingle all day long. And then Friday night, people can mingle. So there's plenty of mingling time built into this time. Yeah. But we don't have to do what we did last time, which is kind of go across town to the hotel that I booked. That was on me, where they steal your goddamn pizza. And there's nowhere for anybody to talk. So anyway.
The infamous.
Yeah, I'm not bitter at all.
I think you were more upset that they took your receipt.
Yes,
than the pizzas. Because
that's what was. I bought that with a state purchasing card. And anybody listening that worked for a business or state knows that they would rather you like sacrifice your firstborn than not have proof of a purchase. And so I was like, my kid's not eating. Taking that stupid piece of paper that led to me losing. I mean, they took points away from me. I almost lost my freaking P card because of that. So, yeah, no. Anyway, all's well. All's well. There will be no pizza purchase this year. That is a thing.
I think, everybody's going to just buy pizzas for Zac.
Yeah, they're just going to throw them at me or just
Yeah.
put them all around my stuff. Anyway. Okay.
Nice. All right. I wanted to ask you guys segueing from the talks that were given last year to this year, what were some of the ideas behind the talks that are being given this year after last year's lineup? Like, not overlapping the same, but trying to do different stuff, and the people that are talking. So, like, what was kind of the strategy there?
Can I answer one way? And then I want to answer something we didn't want. And why? Because I know this is going to maybe a question for some individuals. And so then you can kind of go into why, we chose what was chosen. You'll notice last year and this year, there is one thing that we've not done talks on, and that is something that is species specific. Meaning we haven't just talked about Alterna or just hognose or just, anything like that. And that's because while we love those kinds of, our show will focus on things like that. We wanted to ensure that everyone who comes to ColubridFest, whatever the talks are about, will in some way benefit them directly. Whether they are doing these things direct, like for example, stubborn feeders. Okay, you may not be working with a species that's known to be a stubborn feeder as a baby, but you may hatch out that one that is. So it's things like that. So that's one thing that we wanted to ensure we weren't doing. And it's not to say that that's never going to happen, but we do try to avoid it, because if we do something on king rat snakes and you're like, I'm never going to have a snake that's over 4 foot long, you may not be interested in a king rat snake conversation. So that's why we avoid a species specific lecture or talk, and instead go more for topical conversations that are within the hobby.
That makes sense.
In last year we stayed away from like hot button issues, and not that like enrichment is a hot button issue, but some people hear the word enrichment and they have like I said, there's one of two kind of extreme responses, which is like, oh my God, that's hippy dippy bullshit. We don't want to talk about that. This is the way I've always done it. Well, you don't even know it. This is one of the things we're going to be talking about. You might be enriching your snakes and you don't even know you're doing it. So, and that angle right there, I think, is lost a lot by people who feel the only form to do enrichment is to replicate Suriname in your Exoterra. And you don't have to go that extreme. That's totally enriching. But I think, that can go a little bit too much. And that can also be weaponized, where it's kind of like, if you're not doing this at this level, you're not doing enrichment. And one of the things that Clint and I have done, we have gone to great lengths to do it, is we always try to give both sides of an argument, and we go right down the middle and try to pull people in. And, whether we like it or not, if you're enriching your snakes, that is a very solid way to nullify a naysayer's argument of like, well, why the hell are you keeping these things? And rather than like, get kind of preachy and point and reactive to people saying, I want to take your snakes away, we thought it would be better to kind of, maybe we can up level our keeping strategy, which then we can provide facts that might be able to counter the argument of, we shouldn't be keeping snakes. Well, because it's not good. Well, we're doing all these things to make it so we get species appropriate behavior. So enrichment's a big theme. And then we also look at charismatic people and people that are really good at explaining tough subjects. So genetics is a biggie, because what the hell is that called? Like super whatever. As a biologist, I don't know what that means. I've never, like a super anaconda or super whatever hognose snake. I'm like, what is that? Like, I don't know what that is. And so I was talking with Ben from RGI at last year's ColubridFest, and he said, "I would love to give a talk," and I booked it then, like literally booked the genetics dude to give a genetics talk because we can all benefit from that. And so he's going to be covering concepts that are habitually almost understood, but not entirely understood. And I feel like that's going to be a really important thing for people in our audience to get. So, like in that case, it was an individual. To pat you on the back, Joe, when you came to me to give a talk, the answer was yes. That was it, because you were, able to give a talk, you want to give a talk, and then you got the perspective of the young side of colubrid herpetoculture, which I thought I was hip, and all I know is that my hips hurt. Like, that's it. There's nothing hip about this guy. Okay. So driving around with my students, I've the past couple years I've been educated. I am definitely middle-aged. That's all I got to say. So having somebody who can speak to the younger generation as a younger member of that generation, I think that's important. And one of the things we're not going to have in our show is the older generation and the younger generation. That was one of the things that was awesome about last year, is we had you and Rob Zirkle on a stage and everybody was kosher. And the mere fact that that happened was a miracle. We should have dropped a mic and walked away at that point. So anyway.
But it's what we do there. I mean, it's the whole point of it is to show that we can have, and like I said, the differences of opinions that took place at ColubridFest last year, it wasn't a, you're wrong, I'm right. No. It was, that's I've never thought of it that way. Here's how I'm doing it. And it's more of, just sharing the different. Right. Mm-hmm. It was so great. So I don't know if you're seeing the chat or not, but
yes. Thank you, Corey.
Yeah. Oh, that's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that was it. It's like, I mean, and that's one thing that, quite frankly, it will be addressed before the talks on Saturday. I mean, we will ensure that we set the tone for what ColubridFest is all about and what it's going to be. And because, I'll tell you what, one of the fears when it comes to ColubridFest or when it comes to growing anything, and this is coming from a guy that's what I do, is whatever I get my hands on, it's okay, what can I do to expand it, to make it bigger, to grow it? The problem with growing something is when you have this thing right here, it's freaking awesome. It's perfect. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. But the bigger it gets, it's like awesome. It's this perfect thing continues to affect more people. But eventually, you can only hold it when it gets this big. Once it gets past your hands is when it starts getting to the point where you can't control it as well as what you could here. And when something gets bigger, you may lose some of what it was that made it special to begin with. And so that's going to be one of the things that, we address there is there's going to be a lot more people there this year than last year, but there's not going to be any more ego.
Yeah.
That's not happening at ColubridFest. Yes. It's simply, we are going to ensure that what we are building stays what we're building and doesn't become like anything else that we happen to stumble across in, the hobbies. So just know that's the big difference is if you're coming with a negative attitude, you can have your negative attitude, but you got to wait to talk about it till after you leave, because that's not what this venue is for at all. It's for collaboration.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And just going back to my talk a little bit, like I know, you mentioned the generations. My talk doesn't fall on deaf ears of older people. It may to people who are more established in the hobby, but it's not just for younger people, because adults get new into the hobby too. And it could, that's where my talk goes, to newer and younger keepers. It's just more likely to happen to younger.
Well, one thing that I think people often forget about me is that I'm new to selling snakes. Like, this is not something, I still don't have a freaking name for my whatever the hell, because every time I come up with a name, I present it to Clint And Clint's like, it's too long. I'm like, okay. Then I go with another one. He's like,
it's like 9
no one's gonna
words,
know
and I
what those
can't
words
spell
mean.
6 of them. Yeah.
Like, okay. So, but when I was looking at your PowerPoint slides, man, I was like, wow, I'm like actually learning something here. So no, trust me. While it's focused to young people, there will definitely be us middle-agers and older that are going to get something out of it too. Because I would have told you otherwise. Yeah. So there's that. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm a little nervous because this one's solo. Last year was the panel, but I do this podcast, so hopefully that gives me
that's all it is,
the confidence to get on stage.
Well, the great thing too about these talks is you're only looking at like 20 minutes, maybe a little more, that you're really solo, because then after that it becomes a conversation. And that's totally. For those who haven't come or didn't come to last year, when we're talking about these talks, again, it's not being talked at. It's not like going to a college and hearing a lecture.
No,
it's not that. And, don't be afraid because there's a PhD putting this together. Okay. It's not that. No, instead what this is there's about a 20, maybe 30 minutes, depending on the topic. There's a 20-minute presentation would probably be the better word, not talk, presentation. And then it's, and because then Zac and I, we step in and we start asking questions. It kind of becomes a CCR episode for a minute. Then after that, it's the entire audience is asking questions, giving suggestions or giving ideas, and it becomes this entire room chat. So it's different than what you may be thinking it's going to be. And I think that's what makes those presentations / talks so successful and so special, honestly. So you're not going to be up there hanging by yourself, Joe. You'll be supported.
Right there with you, dude.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that covers a good portion about the talks that I wanted to speak about. And obviously we covered the auction a little bit. Now, the show is a big one because way more vendors, as we already mentioned. Now, I got to ask you guys, with all the vendors that are supposed to be there, and for those who don't know, if you go on the Show Me Reptiles site, go to ColubridFest and click the little vend tabs where you can see who's vending the show. But like, who and what are you most excited to see at this show? In terms of like who by vending, and then what species or types of snakes are you maybe looking for or looking forward to see?
Do you want me to go?
Go ahead.
This is going to sound more diplomatic than it actually is. I'm just excited to go to a freaking reptile show and look at tables and be excited again. Like, that really is it. Like, because the thing is, I could say I'm excited to see XYZ, but I don't know who's going to have some weird South American oddball, whatever the hell, which is going to probably be the snake of the show for me. Mm-hmm. If you know what I'm saying. And that kind of happened last year. So what I am most excited about with the vendors is not knowing what the hell I'm going to see, but knowing I'm going to see stuff I don't always get to see. Yeah. Like that's how reptiles should. So for all you youngins out there, back in like the late 90s, when I would go to the Columbus monthly show, every single month you saw random weird ass stuff. And that just does not happen anymore. And the stuff was like pretty healthy and it was in good shape and all that kind of jazz. And I used to go, and it was almost like a weird herping experience. Like, what new lifer am I going to get here kind of thing that I've seen for the first time ever. I don't get that with shows now. I can totally get that at ColubridFest. So that to me, and at the same time, just seeing all the people that, we got a mix of Daytona and Pomona in our show, like in White Plains too, if you know that show from New York. Like, so the big names from those shows for Colubrids, they're all going to be in our show now, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I don't think, I know that Daytona used to have a major pool for colubrid keepers, and it's still a large colubrid show, but it's mainly the Southeast vendors that are there. You know, there's still going to be some Midwest that come, but this does feel at this moment that it is truly, it's going to be the largest gathering of colubrid breeders out there, period. You know, from the all over the country. And I can't say that there's a species I'm the most excited to see. I have to say it's similar to Zach's response. I know that this show is going to be the, I remember the first time I went to Tinley, okay? The very first show. And this, I remember how wowed I was because it was so large and I was seeing things that I never had seen before. And now I still love going to Tinley, but I don't really see anything I haven't seen before at this point. And there are a lot of tables I walk past. No offense to anybody, just doesn't have anything that really, sparks interest for me. But the diversity that we are going to see there is going to be unrivaled. I mean, it's going to be incredible. The Pituophis representation alone, I mean, is going to be something we are very unfamiliar with. And, it's funny because while we may have the big mouths, at this get together and are near the stage a lot, I can tell you there's people that are coming that I'm kind of fanboying on getting to see, and getting to meet and, for the first time. So there's all that is what I'm really excited for. I mean, I don't know if I really get super excited for a species anymore. I get more excited for just things I haven't seen or haven't seen in ages or, you know what I mean? Just that.
Right.
There's not I'm after anything. That I don't really have that at the moment, that there's something I'm after. But like Zach, I know that not only is there going to be diversity, there's going to be X amount of animals that I look at that I don't even know what the hell it is. And that is unusual at this point in, I don't know if we want to call it my career, my, time within the hobby. It's extremely rare for me to walk by something at a show, colubrids. I can walk by lizards. I don't know what the hell they are. But if I walk past a colubrid, I'm usually going to be able to identify it. But I know there are going to be things at this show that I have to ask, what is this? And what can you tell me about it? And that's awesome. That's going to feel fun. So,
yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I'll answer a little bit. I'm excited to see. I know I kind of did last year, but I feel like I was just I feel like last year was a blur and I was just moving fast everywhere. Like I really want to stop and like take it all in a little more this year. I'm definitely gonna record a bit more. I want to like do more of a vlogs type video for YouTube and stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. I see a lot of Asian rat snakes that I've never really seen a whole lot of or interacted with in person before. I always like Montross's table. His stuff is always interesting, there's so many cool things I know are gonna be there, and I'm just like, so I'm kind of in your boat. I don't have anything in particular, nothing that I'm really looking for per se, but I'm gonna have a good time seeing what everyone brings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't say there's anything I'm looking to buy to bring back, but I would be lying to you if I said I wouldn't be bringing anything back. I know better than that. I mean, this is definitely going to happen. So,
yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see for me. I think it was good last year. I didn't take anything home.
There were things I'd already purchased, and then I know there was a vendor who is a friend and I get things from pretty regularly that I bought, I think 15 animals from at the end. So I love what he's got. So I want all this. So,
yeah.
Cool.
But no, that's it for me, I guess, on that front. I don't know.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to seeing the Zirkles again. I mean, I can see them monthly, but I just love seeing them in that environment. So, and Eric, can't wait to see Eric again. I can't wait to see the people I haven't seen in a while again. That's what I'm, and I don't say that about anyone, by the way. My wife was like, "You're actually excited to go be with people?" And I was like, "But these are my people."
Oh, absolutely.
So,
There's some that, I mean, I see at other shows. There's a guy named Kyle that breeds some really nice Leonis, and he'll be there vending at ColubridFest. And what I love is, I mean, I don't know what other shows he does, but I like that guys like this will get more national attention on some incredible animals that, you know, they produce. And so we could sit here and name so many individuals that, yeah, it's great to walk up and, you know, be able to give hugs to and chat. And I mean, if anything, that's one of the downsides is you don't get to spend the entire time with everyone, you know, because there's so many people that you are interacting with, but you get to spend time with everyone. You know, it's just, it's so fun. Damn it. I can't wait. I'm getting excited. No, I mean, we're less than 14 days away. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting more people and seeing everyone in. 'Cause I think everyone I saw last year, I have not seen since last year. So everyone's going to be, you know, it's a full year. So
yeah.
No. The other thing I'm looking forward to with this year is last year there was definitely, and I've experienced this in the other part of my world, like when we do a crayfish symposia or I'm in charge of a similar type of event, is like the first year you do it, you're running around because like the next minute, you don't know what the hell's going to pop up. That could be a, you know, problem. We kind of had those pop-ups last year. So this year it feels a little bit more settled. You know, the new elephant in the room is just the volume of people, you know, but that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing, but we can manage that. I mean, Clint does annual Metazotics, you know, year anniversary shows and Black Friday shows. So I can just lean on him to tell me what to do. So
we're going to be golden.
We're fine.
We're going to be golden. Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be good stuff.
But no.
And, you know, and I also want, I guess I want to put out there too, that if this is your first ColubridFest, don't be bashful.
Yeah.
You know, come up and, because, you know, we're talking about all these people that we've known for years. But there were so many that we met for the first time, you know, last year that we hadn't spoke to online for years or things like that. And, you know, they're great. I mean, and we had some fantastic conversations and have had nice communications since then. And so don't feel that, oh, I haven't talked with these individuals or, you know, some of the people they've mentioned. It's not that you are going to feel incredibly welcomed at this event. And don't ever think you can't just walk up and get into a conversation. Trust me. Look, I may seem like I'm highly social online. When it comes to small talk, it's the worst for me. I don't mind talking to people, but if it's like, you know, yeah, it's hot today. I know it's hot. You know it's hot. We don't have to talk about it being hot. You know, that's not me. But we're talking about snakes. We're talking about the thing that we're all passionate about and that every one of us gets excited about. So believe me, I am going to be just fine talking to everybody. So, you know, and that goes for Zac too. He just said he's excited to be there. And Zac's usually somebody I've got to hide in a corner and keep him, you know, protected. Wrap him in bubble wrap around people. But no, that's it, is don't be afraid to come up and talk to any of us because we're all great. I mean, we're all going to be excited to meet you, to talk to you, because we're having fun too. I mean, that's what it's all about. No,
100%. And I mean, what other, I just want everybody, this is what I explained to Kath, and I never thought of it this way. We all live in this like weird bubble. And if we didn't have these, we wouldn't have this kind of electronic community, and we talk about community, and you can totally have an electronic community, but it is so different when you are sharing the oxygen with the person that you type to every single day.
Mm-hmm.
It really takes those relationships to like a whole other level. And that is what is special about this thing, is that we don't, it's not about the dollar. It's not about how much money you're going to spend. It's not about how much money you're going to make. It's about the community. And, oh, by the way, you make money while you're doing it. That's what kind of happened. And that's what, when I wrote that big post while I was sitting outside the convention center last year, that was the thing I realized. Like, and like I said just minutes ago, like, we didn't know, we were running around the whole time. We didn't know what the next minute was going to bring, kind of thing. And it wasn't until the show was done, I'm sitting there waiting for them to get me the damn van, which was across the street. But because of the Colts game, poor Tyler had to drive like all the way around Indianapolis to bring it back to us. But that's when I realized, like, that's what it is. That's what's so cool about what just went down.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, like, I'm a little sad it's over. That was the other thing. Because I can flat out tell you, no offense, any crayfish person listens to this. There has never been a crayfish symposium I have put on. And I've put on like close to 10 where we got close to the end. And I was like, oh, I want this to last one more hour. About 6 hours before the end, I was like, can this be done now? Like, can we just like get this thing to the end? I did not have that vibe. That wasn't there at all because, it's just a completely different atmosphere and a completely different goal. So
I want everyone to know, with Zac saying that, he took the real risk of pissing off like 6 people.
I did.
No. Well, that's all the crawfish there are out there. So.
12.
Big year last year, huh?
Uh-huh.
Doubled in numbers.
We doubled.
I remember when we were leaving, I think I had just pulled away, and I don't know if you were still waiting on your van or if you were in your van yet, but I remember the text I sent to Zac, and it simply said, "That really just happened."
Yeah.
And that was the feeling we had. Is it wasn't, oh man, we got that show done. We did. No, it was, we hit what we set out to hit. Everybody is walking out of here feeling exactly what we wanted everyone to feel. That just happened. That was, and we felt it. I mean, it was major.
And then that was when I also realized, not to get sappy, and it's that middle-aged bullshit kicking in. But I also realized that, like, CCR and your podcast, Colubrid Corruption, and what we're all collectively trying to do is special. Like, it's not just something we do. Like, we don't make any freaking money off this stuff. We're doing this because we want it. It's the snakes are one thing, but if we don't have people that appreciate the snakes, why the hell are we doing this? You know what I mean? And I was thinking about, like, when I was 20, I would go from West Liberty. I would drive over to Columbus. I wouldn't talk to anybody. I would then, buy my snakes, go back to West Liberty, and my whole world was in my brain. And now it's not that, and it's building and it's special. And that's what we really want this show to be about, or this event to be about. ColubridFest is about that. And that's what like hit when Clint sent the text and I'm like writing that. I think I got that while I was writing that post. Mm-hmm. I knew, like, we were on the same wavelength completely, 100%. So anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So come be part of it. That's it. Man, a few words here.
I've been preaching it all year long. So
we know, and we thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I really hope the turnout is as good as it seemed to be. Yeah, and like you were saying before, please come up and talk to me, because I'll to any. Just introduce yourself, because you probably know my face better than I know yours.
Well, the thing that's hard for me is, like, if we've talked on Facebook, I'm so terrible with names. I won't know your name. I almost wish everybody could walk around with their little Facebook profile pic.
Yeah, a little circle.
I mean, that would be so awesome. Like, hey, it's because I recognize that. You know, but names absolutely terrible. But yeah, come up and chat. Let's have a good time.
Safe to say I don't walk around reptile shows in a suit. So yeah, that one.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd catch me at a regular show.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I need to walk around with my little orange hunting beanie on.
I got a freaking eyelash visor dangling in my face. Anyway.
I think everybody just look at me and go, you look a lot older than you do on
Yeah.
Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
So guys, yeah, cool. Anything else we want to touch on, guys? I think I kind of rolled through most of the topics. I mean, we went all 3 days, kind of. Any big final words? You guys want to say maybe what's some of animals like you're bringing, what you're gonna have at the tables?
Yeah, we can do that.
I can go quick.
Yeah, I'm about to say, yeah, go ahead. That's fair.
I am bringing shocker false water cobras. So if you want false water cobras, hit me up. I'm bringing normals. I'm bringing some het lavs. I may bring a lavender. I haven't made my mind up on that one yet. And then I think I'm going to bring some of these red-sided garter snakes that I have. And I think that's pretty much it. So I'm there to sell T-shirts for CCR. That's my job. So anyway, and T-shirts. You can buy a CCR T-shirt while you're there.
And aren't you going to have some of your books?
Oh yeah, Jesus criminy! Thank you. This is why I bring Clint around. Market guy. And then the false water cobra book. Russ did another printing of it, so I didn't have any of the book last year. I'm going to be bringing 10 hardbacks and 10 softbacks, and when they go, they go. And obviously, I'm standing right there, so I can sign them straight to you. So yes, that's the other thing I'm going to be bringing. But I'm not going to be bringing tons of stuff. Now, Clint, holy hell.
I'm actually, to help myself out here, I'm popping open my website because it'd be too hard to remember. So we'll be bringing various bamboos. So Laticinctus, Pulcher, Coxeye. We should have some Mandarin rats, Russian rats, Chinese beauty mutations, maybe a couple radiated rats. Let's see. Possibly green bush rats if they're ready in time. They're flirting with it. We'll see. I think possibly some Baird's rats. More in probably more in quantity as well as diversity, black rat mutations and combos than you're going to see anywhere else. I will adamantly say that because we're going to have some cool stuff out there for that. Some cool corn morphs. There's going to be people that are going to have dynamite corn snake stuff. And I'm only going to have a handful, but I really like what we do work with. Some like vanishing stripe coral ghosts and vanishing stripe salmon snows, stuff like that, which I really dig. So we're going to have those. We will have various Cow King, morphs and whatnot. We're going to have some Nablocki, both hypo and hets. We will have Florida King morphs, several of those. Mex, maybe one Outer Banks King, some Leonis. What else? MBKs. We'll have lots of those. We will probably have some, and this is crazy for me to think this, because anything else I say, I'm not going to be surprised if somebody else there has it too. This is the one thing I may think I might be the only one with there. And these are pure albino Eastern king snakes. Because I only know of a couple of us that have these and are working with them right now. And I do have some that will be available. And we will have those with us. We will have Harris County. Yep. We will have Harris County Speckled Kings. What else? Sorry, now I got to get back up to where it was. Okay. I don't know if we'll have any gray bands this time, but I know that there's going to be some represented there for sure. As far as milks, we'll have some Nelsons. We'll have a few Hondos. What is it? Canante milk. I'm saying that correctly. Cononite. There you go. We'll have some Pituophis as well. I'll have at least one neotropical bird snake. I'm not even going to bring the falsies because I think you're going to have those covered. So, what else? Mexican night snakes. That's going to be one too that someone else may have that, but I think that if it's still going to be one of the more rare. I don't see that on tables very often anywhere that I go, and we're going to have a good number of Mexican night snakes available. So, and that's what is currently already has hit its number of meals and is good to go, and I've got loaded in the system. I think there's probably going to be another 30 to 60, 70 animals that hit their number of meals this week that then I have to get photographed, get loaded in the system, and they'll get deli cupped the day before I come up as well. So there's going to be a lot.
Nice. Just looking at this question here, I know Roy is not coming. I don't know if did Jason. I don't know if Jason produced any this year, so that would be me guessing, saying he has them or not. So
look at my horrible text in the chat.
That's the only reason I'm saying I don't know.
I really do.
I love old man fingers.
Yes. It'll work.
Yes, Hood. Maybe not.
Yep.
Oh man. If Hood doesn't have any, because I'm pretty sure there was at least one. There was somebody else out there last year that had them, if I'm remembering correctly. Am I right?
I don't remember that. I remember seeing them.
I remember seeing them last year, so more than likely somebody will, but can't swear to it. If not, Hood will be there, and that's somebody you'd want to talk to about him because he'd be able to take care of you soon.
Awesome, fellas. Well, I think that just about does it for us tonight. I really hope this was a good pre-party for everyone to pre-game with as they prepare for ColubridFest. As we've already said, I'm so excited, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to it, buddy.
Good, dude.
Yeah. As always, guys, the link to Zac Clint and the CCR Instagram are in the description. Please make sure you go follow them on social media. Listen to Colubrid and Colubroid Radio. If you like this podcast, you'll very much like that one as well. I give them a lot of thanks for being here and being collaborative with me as we, us two, have the Colubrid podcast in that space. So it's cool to talk to them and have them on. So thank you guys.
No worries.
Thanks for having us, Joe.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. I'll run this outro real quick. All right, guys. What another fantastic episode of the Colubrid Corruption Podcast. I really hope you all enjoyed. And again, I hope you're all getting prepared for ColubridFest, the second annual one. I'm super excited. And I hope you are too. And looking forward to meeting and seeing a whole bunch of you there. Once again, guys, if it's the first time listening, make sure you leave a like on today's podcast. Make sure you hit subscribe on the channel. Check out the first link and join the Meteoric Serpents Patreon. Also, big thank you again to FulviusApparel.com. Justin, I know you're in the chat tonight. Thank you, Justin, for supporting the show. Use code TC10 to get yourself some reptile-related apparel, shirts, hoodies, t-shirts. I said t-shirts. Hats. Shirts, hoodies, and hats. Again, code CC10. But that is it for tonight, guys. Again, this was episode number 79 of the Colubrid Corruption Podcast. Have a great night. See you next week. Peace out.